Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into something that, honestly, hits incredibly close to home for so many of us. We're talking about the invisible forces that guide how we love, how we connect, and yeah, why we sometimes just pull away. We're looking at the path to earn secure attachment. Think about it. You know that sudden pit in your stomach when a text goes unanswered for a few hours? Or maybe that instant urge to just pull back when someone gets a little too close? Well, if you've ever felt kind of trapped by those relationship patterns or found yourself wondering, why do I react this way with the people I care about most? You're in the right place. We're going to unpack the actual mechanics behind all of it. So let's just dive right in.
Section 1. Is change actually possible?
It's a massive question, right? Can you actually change your attachment style, and if so, how? Look, we all get that heavy, creeping doubt about our psychological habits sometimes. It is so easy to look back at our relationship history and just wonder if our emotional reactions are permanently hardwired into our brains. Believe me, you are absolutely not alone in wondering if you're just stuck in your ways. But asking this question directly, that gives us permission to really critically examine our own internal wiring, completely free of judgment.
Moving on to Section 2, Healing Through Secure Relationships. So we're going to explore the first of two distinct paths to healing. This one focuses on the profound shifts that can happen completely naturally, just through the sheer power of human connection. And I want to give you some immediate relief here. Luckily, attachment styles can change. Honestly, if you take absolutely nothing else away from our time together today, please let it be this reassurance. Your attachment style is not some permanent life sentence. It is totally adaptable.
In fact, sometimes this change can literally happen all by itself, simply by experiencing a securely attached partner. I mean, imagine what it feels like to be with someone who doesn't panic when you need a little space, or who doesn't pull away when you ask for reassurance, right? That kind of dynamic naturally facilitates emotional closeness. It brings this profound sense of calmness to the relationship, and it provides an external stability you might literally never have experienced before. This new, safe experience acts as a real catalyst. It leads directly to a shift in your perception, naturally guiding you toward entirely new habits and patterns. You can actually heal simply by being anchored to someone who provides that safe harbor for you.
Which brings us to Section 3, Doing the Inner Work.
But hey, what happens if you aren't currently anchored in that safe harbor, or maybe you just need to tackle things on your own? Well, we have to shift our focus from those external relationships to internal, self-guided effort. There's a pretty stark contrast here. On side A, we have the passive healing we just talked about, that organic change from being with a secure individual. On side B, there are times you might need to actively work harder on your attachment style. This is the deliberate, roll-up-your-sleeves effort required to heal yourself. It leans heavily on self-reflection and therapy, rather than just relying on the environmental stability of a partner.
There's a quote that really hits the nail on the head here. You cannot change your past, but you can change the present. It's such a profound pivot of hope, isn't it? It acknowledges that, yeah, maybe your early environment or your past relationships weren't ideal, and no, you can't undo them. But the very second you accept that reality, you take total control over your future by focusing entirely on the present.
So, what does changing the present actually look like in practice? Thankfully, there's a clear, actionable roadmap for this active inner work. The real key to healing is making sense of how you interact with your loved ones. Step 1, recognize your behavioral patterns in relationships and be mindful of them. Once you actually see the pattern, the whole thing becomes much easier to solve. Step 2 is practicing self-reflection, doing that daily, sometimes gritty work of checking in with your own reactions. And Step 3 involves analyzing and making sense of your childhood experiences. Now, to be perfectly fair, trying to catch yourself mid-argument to self-reflect or digging up decades-old childhood memories, it isn't exactly a walk in the park. But knowing exactly where that wiring came from is absolutely essential if you want to safely rewire it.
All right, Section 4, Committing to the Process.
This brings us to how we actually break free from those old habits for good and the specific tools you need to maintain this vital growth over the long haul. Here is the absolutely crucial realization you have to internalize. Past experiences do not have to affect or predict the present and the future. Embracing this specific mindset is exactly what makes it easier to break free from those deeply established behavioral patterns. Think about it. When you stop viewing your past as some sort of crystal ball for your future, you literally strip those old, insecure habits of all their power over you.
And to actually achieve this, there is an incredible buffet of tools and resources available to you. Working with a therapist on these patterns is often the absolute most beneficial route to earning secure attachment. But listen, it's definitely not the only way. There are attachment repair groups, online courses, you can work through things with a close friend, or dive into books. There's even a newly released series of attachment-style digital workbooks if you prefer a more self-guided route. But regardless of the path you choose, one thing remains exceptionally clear. Consistency and effort are the fundamental requirements. Whether you grab a new workbook or sit down with a therapist every week, if you want to change your attachment style, you gotta put that consistent effort in.
As we wrap up this explainer, just remember, your past does not predict your future. We know the paths, we have a multitude of tools right at our fingertips, and we know that consistency is the only real way forward. So, I want to leave you with this empowering question. Knowing that true, earned, secure attachment is entirely possible, what effort will you make today? What is the very first step you're going to take to reshape your own story?